All right, let's dive into something a little different today.
Different how?
Well, we're focusing on just one specific muscle group.
Okay, I can get behind that. Focus is good. What muscle group are we talking about?
It's all about triceps today, and specifically how to work them out right at home.
Triceps, huh? I feel like those are often overlooked, especially compared to biceps.
Yeah, you're right, but they're so important, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much they use their triceps on a daily basis.
Tell me more. How did this topic even come up?
Well, I was checking out zenfitpulse.com, as
Yeah.
one does, and this article titled Triceps Workout at Home. Sculpt your triceps without a gym really grabbed my attention.
Zenfit Pulse, those guys are great. Their articles are always so clear and easy to understand, even for beginners.
Totally. And this deep dive is definitely geared towards those learner types. People who want a solid understanding of how to train their triceps effectively, even if they don't have access to a gym.
Sounds good to me. So, what are some of the key takeaways from the article? Convince me why I should care about triceps.
Well, first of all, strong triceps are crucial for, well, pushing things.
Okay, that's pretty obvious. I mean, they're called triceps for a reason, right?
Right. But think about how many times a day you push something. Opening a door, pushing a shopping cart, even just pushing yourself up from a chair.
Yeah, I never really thought about it that way. It's like they're the unsung heroes of our arms.
Exactly. Plus, the article talks about how strong triceps contribute to overall arm endurance and, of course, that sculpted, toned look that many people want.
So it's not just about aesthetics.
Definitely not. It's about functional strength and improving your ability to move through everyday life with ease.
I'm liking this already. Okay, so let's say I'm ready to start training my triceps at home. Where do I even begin?
Well, like any good workout, it all starts with a warm-up.
Oh, yeah, the warm up. Can't skip that.
The article suggests arm circles, an overhead tricep stretch, and even some modified push-ups as a good way to prep the muscles.
Makes sense. You've got to get the blood flowing and activate those triceps before you really start challenging them.
Exactly. And a good warm-up can help prevent injuries too. So it's definitely worth taking a few minutes to do it right.
Agreed. All right, so we're warmed up. Now what? Give me the good stuff. What exercises can I do for triceps at home?
Well, the article has a ton of great suggestions, even if you don't have any equipment. Talk about triceps dips using a chair, which seems super simple but effective.
Triceps dips. I think I've seen those done before. You basically use the edge of a chair to support your weight, right?
Yep. You just sit on the edge, hands gripping the seat, slide your bottom off, and lower your body by bending your elbows. Then push back up to the starting position.
Sounds straightforward enough, but how do you know if you're doing them correctly?
The key is to focus on controlled movement and really feel the triceps working. You should definitely feel a burn in the back of your arms. And of course, ZenFitPulse.com has awesome visuals showing proper form if you're a more visual learner.
I'm always a fan of good visuals. All right, so chair dips. Got it. What else?
Another great bodyweight exercise is close grip push-ups.
Close grip push-ups. How are those different from regular push-ups?
Instead of having your hands shoulder-width apart, you bring them closer together directly under your chest. It forces your elbows to stay tucked in, putting way more emphasis on the triceps.
That's why I always find this so much harder than regular push-ups. They really target those triceps.
It's amazing how a small tweak in hand placement can completely change which muscles you're working, right?
Absolutely. It's all about understanding those subtle biomechanics and how they affect muscle activation.
Speaking of understanding, listeners, if you're digging this deep dive and want to explore even more fitness wisdom, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and swing by ZenFitPulse.com. They've got a wealth of free articles on everything health and fitness.
Yeah, seriously. Their commitment to making fitness knowledge accessible to everyone is truly commendable.
Okay, so we've covered warming up and a couple of great bodyweight exercises for triceps. But what if I do have some equipment at home, like dumbbells or resistance bands? What then?
Well, the article doesn't leave you hanging. They've got some excellent recommendations for those who want to incorporate a little extra resistance into their routine.
Okay, I'm all ears. Spill the beans. What exercises do they suggest?
They recommend overhead triceps extensions and triceps kickbacks as great options.
Overhead triceps extensions, those sound intense. Tell me more.
You can do them with either a dumbbell or a resistance band. Basically, you hold the weight in both hands, extend your arms straight up overhead, and then slowly lower the weight behind you by bending your elbows. Keeping those upper arms still and close to your head is key.
So you're really isolating those triceps, huh? I can see why those would be effective.
Exactly. And for triceps kickbacks, you'll want to slightly bend forward at the hips, keeping your back straight, and hold a dumbbell in each hand. Then, keeping your upper arms close to your sides, you extend your arms back, squeezing your triceps at the top of the movement.
Both of these exercises sound like they really target the triceps. Any safety tips to keep in mind?
Oh, absolutely. Controlled movement is crucial for both exercises. Avoid swinging the weights or using momentum, as that can lead to injury. Focus on squeezing those triceps at the top of each movement and lowering the weight slowly and with control.
Great advice. It's always better to prioritize good form over lifting heavier weights, right?
Absolutely. It's all about quality over quantity when it comes to building strength and preventing injuries.
And speaking of quality, listeners, remember to prioritize your own fitness journey by subscribing to our podcast for more awesome deep dives. And head over to zenfitpulse.com for a wealth of free fitness resources. They really are a fantastic resource for anyone looking to improve their health and well-being.
I completely agree. All right, now that we've got those exercise tips down, let's shift gears a bit and talk about cooling down. I know it can be tempting to just collapse on the couch after a workout, but why is cooling down so important, especially for our triceps?
Yeah, you're right. It's so easy to skip the cool down, especially when you're working out at home. But the article emphasizes how important it is for muscle recovery.
It's like giving your body a chance to unwind and transition back to a resting state after all that hard work.
So it's not just about preventing dizziness. There are actual benefits for our muscles.
Definitely. Cooling down helps to reduce muscle soreness and stiffness later on. It's all about promoting flexibility and allowing those muscles to gently return to their resting length.
What kind of cool down stretches do they recommend for triceps specifically?
A few we've already touched on, actually. The overhead tricep stretch, a cross-body shoulder stretch, and the always wonderful child's pose.
Ooh, child's pose. That one's my favorite. It feels like a big hug for your entire body.
It is. Plus, it helps to gently stretch the triceps and surrounding muscles, promoting relaxation and flexibility.
So we've got our warm-up, our exercises, and our cool-down routine. What else is there to know about triceps training? What surprised you the most when you read this article?
Honestly, what surprised me the most was learning about all the benefits of strong triceps beyond just aesthetics. I had no idea how much they contribute to everyday functionality and even posture.
Oh yeah, the posture connection is fascinating. Tell me more about that. How do strong triceps help with posture?
Well, think about it. Many of us spend hours slouched over computers or looking down at our phones, which can lead to rounded shoulders and that dreaded forward head posture.
It's true. I'm definitely guilty of that.
Well, strong triceps help to counteract that by pulling your shoulders back and keeping your chest open. They essentially act like a support system, helping you maintain a more aligned spine.
So it's like having built-in posture correctors. That's amazing. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about common mistakes people make when training triceps. I'm sure we've all made our fair share, especially when we're first starting out.
Oh, definitely. The article highlights a few key pitfalls to avoid. Not warming up properly is a big one, of course, as we've already discussed. But another common mistake is using incorrect form during the exercises.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen, especially if you're not used to focusing on specific muscle groups.
It's important to remember that proper form is crucial not only for maximizing the effectiveness of the exercises, but also for preventing injuries. Focus on controlled movements, really feel those triceps engage throughout each rep, and don't be afraid to check out those visuals on zenfitpulse.com if you need a refresher on proper technique.
Quality over quantity, right. It's better to do fewer reps with perfect form than to try to crank out a ton of reps sloppily.
Exactly. And speaking of quantity, another common mistake is overtraining. Your muscles need time to recover and rebuild after a workout, so don't go overboard.
How much is too much when it comes to triceps?
The article recommends aiming for at least 48 hours of rest between intense triceps sessions. Listen to your body, and if you're feeling sore or fatigued, don't be afraid to take a rest day.
Rest is just as important as the workout itself, right?
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance between challenging your body and giving it the time it needs to recover and adapt.
Well said. Now let's dive into some of the frequently asked questions about triceps training that the article addresses. I know a lot of people wonder how often they should be working these muscles, once a week, every day. What's the magic number?
The article recommends aiming for 2 to 3 times per week, depending on your fitness level and goals. Beginners might start with 2 sessions, while more experienced individuals can add a third.
And of course, rest days are crucial between those sessions, as we've already established.
Right. And another common question is about results. People want to know when they can expect to see those toned triceps peeking through.
Is it weeks, months, a lifetime? Spill the tea.
Well, as with any fitness goal, results vary based on consistency, diet, and individual body composition. But the article suggests that with regular training and a healthy diet, you could start seeing noticeable strength and tone within 4 to 6 weeks.
That's encouraging. It shows the consistency and dedication really do pay off.
They absolutely do. And speaking of paying off, listeners, investing in your fitness knowledge doesn't have to break the bank. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more deep dives like this one, and head over to zenfitpulse.com for a treasure trove of free fitness information.
They're like a one-stop shop for all things health and fitness. Okay, back to those FAQs. One question that pops up a lot is about diet. What role does diet play in building strong triceps? Is it all about protein shakes and chicken breasts?
Well, protein is definitely important, especially after a workout to help those muscles recover and rebuild. But it's not just about protein, it's about having a balanced diet that provides all the nutrients your body needs to thrive.
So fuel those muscles with good nutrition.
Got it. What specific foods do they recommend for optimal triceps development?
The article mentions lean meats, fish, eggs, and plant-based sources like tofu and lentils as great sources of protein. And of course, you can't forget about carbs and healthy fats. Carbs provide energy for your workouts, and healthy fats are essential for overall health and hormone function. It's like building a house. You need all the right materials to create a strong foundation. And in this case, the house is your amazing sculpted body.
Love that analogy. Now, one last FAQ that I think is particularly relevant for our at-home workout enthusiasts. Are resistance bands as effective as weights for triceps training?
That's a great question. I know a lot of people are curious about that, especially if they don't have access to dumbbells or a gym.
Well, according to the article, resistance bands can be just as effective as weights for stimulating muscle growth. They offer consistent tension throughout the range of motion, which is what really challenges those muscles and encourages them to adapt.
That's fantastic news for those of us who might be limited on space or equipment.
Absolutely. And resistance bands are so portable and versatile, you can literally take them anywhere and get a great workout in.
So whether you prefer dumbbells, resistance bands, or just your own body weight, there are plenty of options for sculpting those triceps at home.
Exactly. The key is to find what works best for you and stick with it.
And speaking of sticking with it, listeners, if you're loving this deep dive and want even more insights, be sure to subscribe and head over to zenfitpulse.com. They've got tons of free articles on all things health and fitness, and they're always adding new content.
Seriously, check them out. You won't be disappointed.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
I'd just say, don't underestimate the power of strong triceps. They're essential for so much more than just aesthetics. They contribute to better posture, make everyday activities easier, and can even boost your confidence.
It's like having a secret weapon for a stronger, healthier you. And the best part is, you don't need a fancy gym or expensive equipment to get started. You can sculpt those triceps right in your own home with a little dedication and the right knowledge.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Now go forth and conquer those triceps.
Okay, so we've talked about warming up those triceps and even covered some killer bodyweight exercises.
But let's be real, some of us out there like to pump some iron.
Exactly. Some of our listeners might have dumbbells or resistance bands gathering dust in the corner.
So what does the article say about using equipment for triceps workouts at home?
Well, they actually have a whole section dedicated to exercises with dumbbells or bands.
Awesome, I'm all ears.
2 exercises in particular caught my eye: overhead triceps extensions and triceps kickbacks.
Ooh, kickbacks. Those always make me feel like a badass.
Right. But first, let's break down those overhead triceps extensions. How do they work?
Okay, so picture this. You're standing with the dumbbell in each hand, arms extended straight up overhead.
Palms facing each other.
You got it. Now, keeping those upper arms still and nice and close to your head, slowly lower the weights behind you by bending your elbows.
I'm already feeling the burn just visualizing it.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely feel it in those triceps. Then, once you've lowered the weights as far as you comfortably can, extend your arms back up to the starting position.
Sounds pretty straightforward, but any tips on form?
Well, as always, controlled movement is key. No swinging those weights around like a maniac.
Haha, point taken. So slow and steady wins the sculpted triceps race.
Exactly. And speaking of winning, listeners, if you're loving this breakdown and want to learn even more, hit that subscribe button for our podcast and check out zenfitpulse.com. They've got a ton of great articles, all for free.
Totally. Now let's move on to those triceps kickbacks. How do those differ from extensions?
Okay, so for kickbacks, you're going to want to change your position slightly.
What do you mean?
Instead of standing upright, you'll be slightly bent forward at the hips, keeping that back straight, of course. Hold a dumbbell in each hand with your upper arms close to your sides.
Okay, got it. What next?
Now, bend your elbows to a 90-degree angle, and then keeping those upper arms still, extend your arms back.
Like you're kicking something behind you.
You got it. And make sure you squeeze your triceps at the top of the movement. Really feel those muscles working.
Both of these exercises seem super effective for targeting the triceps.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. And they're perfect for an at-home workout because you don't need a ton of space or fancy equipment.
Speaking of home workouts, remember, listeners, it's never too late to prioritize your fitness journey. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more awesome deep dives and head over to zenfitpulse.com for a wealth of free fitness resources.
All right, back to those exercises. Any safety tips we should keep in mind for overhead triceps, extensions, and kickbacks?
Yeah, it's always good to be mindful of safety, especially when you're working out with weights.
Well, the article emphasizes the importance of controlled movement throughout both exercises. You want to avoid swinging the weights or using momentum.
Because that can lead to injury.
Exactly. Focus on really squeezing your triceps at the top of each movement and lower those weights slowly and with control.
Good form over everything, right?
You got it. It's all about quality over quantity when it comes to building strength and preventing injuries.
Well said. Now, the article also talks about the importance of cooling down, even after a home workout. I know I'm often tempted to just plop down on the couch after I'm done.
Me too. But a proper cool down is essential for muscle recovery and preventing soreness.
So what kind of cool down stretches do they recommend for triceps?
Well, they suggest a few we've already talked about. The overhead triceps stretch, the cross-body shoulder stretch, and good old child's pose.
Oh, child's pose is the best. It feels so good to just relax and stretch out those muscles.
It really is. It helps to lengthen and relax the triceps after all that work we just put them through.
Okay, so we've covered warm-ups, some awesome exercises both with and without equipment, and even cooling down.
But the ZenFit Pulse article really goes beyond just the basics of triceps training.
What do you mean?
They dive into some pretty fascinating benefits of having strong triceps that go way beyond just looking good in a tank top.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Spill the beans. What are these secret benefits of strong triceps?
Well, the article talks about how strong triceps can actually make everyday activities easier.
Really? Like how?
Think about all the things you do that involve pushing. Carrying groceries, pushing a stroller, even just pushing yourself up from a chair.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I never really thought about it that way.
Strong triceps make all those activities feel less strenuous. They're like your secret weapon for conquering everyday life.
So it's not just about aesthetics. It's about functional strength.
Exactly. And the article also highlights the connection between strong triceps and good posture.
Oh, yeah, that's something I struggle with, especially after spending hours hunched over a computer.
Well, you're not alone. So many of us develop that forward head posture from sitting at desks all day.
But how do strong triceps help with that?
Think of it this way. Strong triceps help to pull your shoulders back and keep your chest open, counteracting that rounded shoulder posture.
It's like having built-in posture correctors. That's amazing.
Right. So strong triceps not only make you look good, but they also help you feel good and move better throughout the day.
I'm definitely sold on the benefits of triceps training now. So, any common mistakes people make when working these muscles?
Well, as we discussed earlier, not warming up properly and using incorrect form are biggies. But the article also talks about the importance of listening to your body and not overtraining.
Yeah, rest is just as important as the workout itself, right?
Absolutely. Your muscles need time to recover and rebuild. If you're feeling sore or fatigued, don't be afraid to take a rest day.
Okay, got it. Now let's jump into the FAQ section of the article. They address a lot of common questions people have about triceps training.
I'm ready. Hit me with those FAQs.
All right, first up,
Yeah.
how often should we be training our triceps? Once a week? Every day? What's the sweet spot?
According to the article, 2 to 3 times per week is a good target, depending on your fitness level and goals.
So beginners might start with 2 sessions per week and then gradually increase to 3.
Exactly. And remember those rest days in between.
Got it. And another question I see a lot is about results. When can people expect to see those sculpted triceps? Is it a matter of weeks, months, years?
Well, the article emphasizes that everyone is different and results vary based on consistency, diet, and individual body composition. But with regular training and a healthy diet, you could start seeing noticeable changes in strength and tone within 4 to 6 weeks.
That's pretty motivating. It shows that consistency really does pay off.
And speaking of paying off, Listeners, investing in your fitness knowledge doesn't have to cost a fortune. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more deep dives like this one, and head over to zenfitpulse.com for a wealth of free fitness information.
They truly are a fantastic resource for anyone looking to improve their health and well-being. Okay, back to those FAQs. One question that always comes up is about the role of diet in muscle building. Is it all about protein shakes and chicken breasts?
Protein is definitely important, especially for muscle repair and growth, but it's not the only factor.
So it's about more than just protein. What else do we need to consider?
A balanced diet is key. Think lean meats, fish, eggs, or plant-based sources like tofu and lentils for protein.
And carbs and healthy fats, they play a role too, right?
Absolutely. Carbs give you energy for your workouts, and healthy fats support overall health and hormone function.
It's all about creating a strong foundation for your body, just like building a house. You need all the right materials to make it sturdy and functional.
Love that analogy. Now, last but not least, let's address the question of resistance bands versus weights for triceps training. A lot of people wonder if bands can be just as effective as dumbbells.
I'm curious about that too. What does the article say?
Well, they actually give a resounding yes. Resistance bands can be just as effective as weights for stimulating muscle growth.
Lily, that's awesome.
They offer consistent tension throughout the range of motion, which is key for challenging those muscles and encouraging adaptation.
That's great news for people who might not have access to a gym or a full set of weights.
Exactly. Resistance bands are so versatile and affordable, they're a great option for home workouts.
So whether you prefer dumbbells, resistance bands, or just your own body weight, the key is to find what works best for you and stick with it.
Consistency is key. And remember, you don't need a fancy gym or expensive equipment to build strong triceps.
You can achieve amazing results right at home with the right knowledge and a little dedication. Welcome back to the show. So we've covered a lot of ground on triceps training, from warm-ups to cool-downs, bodyweight exercises, to those involving equipment.
Yeah, we really dug deep into that ZenFit Pulse article.
They really provided some fantastic insights.
And I think it's safe to say that strong triceps are about so much more than just aesthetics.
Absolutely. They play a crucial role in everyday functionality, contribute to good posture, and, as you said, can even boost confidence.
It's like having a secret weapon for a stronger, healthier you.
And speaking of secrets, listeners, don't forget to check out zenfitpulse.com for a wealth of free fitness knowledge.
Seriously, their website is a goldmine of information.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember about triceps training?
That's a good question. I think the biggest takeaway is that anyone can build strong triceps, regardless of their fitness level or access to equipment.
That's so true. You don't need a fancy gym membership or a personal trainer to achieve amazing results.
Even a few simple exercises done consistently can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And remember, consistency is key. It's not about being perfect every day. It's about showing up and putting in the effort, even when you don't feel like it.
Couldn't agree more. Building those sustainable habits is what ultimately leads to long-term success.
And speaking of success, listeners, if you're enjoying these deep dives, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more evidence-based insights on all things health and fitness.
We're here to help you achieve your goals one step at a time.
Now, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder as we wrap up today's episode. What everyday activities could be easier or more enjoyable with stronger triceps?
Ooh, that's a good one. Take a moment to really think about that.
Let it inspire you to prioritize those triceps workouts and see how much stronger and more capable you can become.
Remember, your body is capable of amazing things. Don't underestimate its power.
Well said. And before we sign off, do you have any final recommendations for our listeners who are eager to dive even deeper into triceps training?
Absolutely. If you're looking for a great resource, especially if you're new to strength training, zenfitpulse.com has a fantastic article called Beginner's Push-Up Alternatives, 5 moves to help you build your chest and triceps.
That's a great suggestion. I'm bookmarking that one for sure.
It's a great place to start if you're looking for some variations on those classic push-ups.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into triceps training. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit empowering.
And remember, you've got this. We believe in you.
Until next time, keep those triceps firing and keep exploring the amazing world of fitness.
See you on the next Deep Dive.